Okay, George, are we rolling?
We're rolling.
Okay.
We're rolling.
Gosh.
Making me have to edit more.
I don't understand. I feel like you're getting hostile.
I am getting hostile.
Why are you so hostile?
This is getting hot in here.
Hey everyone, Carrie Rome and
Lisa Beck.
we are back for another week of the Caged Vision podcast, and we're talking about what George was just angry about. It wasn't hard to spark that anger, was it?
It really wasn't. I think he has anger management
Maybe
issues.
he's hangry. He's a big dude.
He's a big dude. He
He's
may
hangry.
need an
He's
afternoon
laughing.
snack.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, he might just start eating part of the podcast equipment if we don't feed him. But anyway, so we're talking about fight or flight. We're talking about your employees. We're talking about you scratching your head, leaving a conference room saying, what in the heck just happened? Because, man, I thought we were all on the same page, and all of a sudden, Georgie here decides to, get hostile with me. What happened? And then Sally over here, she just shut down on me. How'd that happen? And you just go back in your office and you call a friend and you gripe a little bit as a business leader. And then you look up and you're halfway through the year. And you're feeling like Bon Jovi because you're living on a prayer. That was last week's podcast.
You are
right?
going to just keep bringing that one up because it's
I don't
one
know.
of your favorites, isn't
anyway,
it?
And you're thinking, how could I have done it any better? Well, that's what this podcast is about.
Exactly what this podcast
Sorry
is about.
for the super long introduction.
Well, and I'm from the super long introduction, I'm thinking you've experienced this a time or two.
Yeah, I have. Yes. Internally, we're not immune to it. Internally and with clients. A lot
With clients.
A lot. Because this is what we do, right? We help them create a clear path to building the business that they want. That came off a little Cajun, didn't it? That they want.
But I like it when you get your Cajun on. It's
I get
kind
my
of
Cajun
funny.
on, yeah. Especially when I get close to salt water.
Is that it?
I
It
can
just
turn it on.
immediately turns on?
It just, yes. Yes.
We'll have to record a podcast
Put a
at the
fishing
beach
rod
then.
and a Coors Light in my hand, and it's over.
Ooh, I didn't know this. Interesting. We'll have to record a
It's a redneck side
podcast
of me,
at the
yeah.
beach.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
But let's get back to fight or flight.
Okay. Yes.
Because we do that, and that is something that businesses unfortunately struggle with. We struggle with it. But, what is it? And why does it happen? And, the scientific name is it's an acute stress response that happens when you're faced with something terrifying.
What's so terrifying? Let's talk. There's a progression here, and it's a pretty simple progression, right? The outcome is what we're experiencing, but there's a progression along the way. So why don't you walk us through that simple progression?
It is quite simple. When people are faced with something new, which means it's probably unknown to them, it makes them a little uncertain. And when one is feeling uncertain, one becomes threatened because it threatens what they know to be true. And so you're telling them that what they know to be true is going to change a little bit.
And then what happens?
Oh my gosh. Fear. Instantaneous fear.
Which is?
Fight or flight.
No.
Basic needs.
No.
That addresses her. Oh, false evidence appearing real.
Yes. Thank
Sorry,
you.
I didn't know you wanted the
I was
acronym.
trying to give you a layup.
You did.
Or a softball or whatever.
Fear is false evidence appearing real.
Right. So, point is, it's something new. You don't quite understand, so it's false evidence.
Yes.
But in your head,
it appears real.
it appears real. And so, under attack. What's under attack? Your most basic needs. So, here's a news flash to you business leaders. Believe it or not, the single most compelling reason, the single reason that your employees show up for work every day is not for your coffee. It's not for the free donuts.
Wait, somebody gives away free donuts?
Not us.
Okay.
It's not for the free peanut butter crackers, whatever we give. It's not for the swanky offices that you have. It's not for the perks. It's for their most basic needs. And by that, we're talking about, basic, like caveman type, right?
Food and shelter.
Right, food and shelter. And here's the test. Give them unlimited budget for any food they want and unlimited budget for any house they want and see if they come back. Right? I mean, like, yeah. George just said I'd be
George
gone.
says
Yeah.
he'd be gone.
George be gone. Because George is like, does that include like Xbox? Yeah, he's gonna start negotiating. And Doritos?
What do I get with it?
What do you get with it?
What perks do I get with that salary?
Yes, yeah. So anyway, man, you know that guy on ESPN, the guy, the camera guy,
Which one?
the guy on ESPN on the game day show.
Yeah.
You're him for us.
Oh my
We
gosh,
gotta
he
start
is.
incorporating him into the show.
We
He's a
do.
funny guy. He's got a good laugh too.
We'll get signs for him.
Yes.
We'll have to. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
This is awesome.
Moving on. So anyway, believe it or not, business leaders, they come to work just to get a little food and some shelter. And so when something gets newly introduced and they get uncertain because it's unknown and they get threatened and then fear, what you experience when you walked out the conference room scratching your head when you thought you were on the same page is fight or flight.
And fight or flight, I'm confident most of our audience or all of our audience has heard of this before, this instinctive reaction to something when they feel threatened.
Yeah.
And the fight is it raises your blood pressure, it makes your heart race, it makes your palms sweat. And, the fighters are instantaneously going to be defensive and be like, what? What do you mean? And how is this going to work? And it's not going to work. And
Maybe. Or sometimes we've witnessed where early on they go quiet and then after the first break, they come back they're ready to fight. Okay? Whereas the other scenario, flight, they seem to be bought in early on and then they shut down afterwards when they start to realize, wait, how's this going to impact me? What about what I do? Is my job, maybe I should just protect everything and not share anything. Because if I'm the only person that knows how to do it, then that means I'm valuable. And that's the psychology they go through.
Ooh, talking about psychology, Northwestern did a study on this sort of...
University?
No, Northwestern Life Insurance Company did a study on stress in the workplace and how stress impacts employees. And one of the things they found was that 40% of employees say that they feel stressed or extremely stressed all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Not even when you introduce your new strategy and when you start to think about your new strategy in the fall. None of that. We're talking like daily.
Like daily, which means they have a heightened sense of fight or flight. So they're constantly on the defensive or they're constantly hoarding their work because they live in an environment where they feel threatened every day, even if it's not realistic. Every day.
You know what? I don't have any real data to back this up, but I'm going to go ahead and say that I think that is directly equivalent to 40% of all drivers have road rage. At least, right?
I was going to say, gosh, drivers with road rage, I'd say it's more like 90% of drivers have road rage.
Think about it, listeners. If you have a bad day at work, how does your drive home go? It's stress. You carry the stress because it takes a while to wear off, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it takes up to, the studies have shown, 60 minutes that you stay in this heightened sense of high blood pressure and sweaty palms and all of the salivating and all of that goes with the fight or flight stress response.
I'm getting stressed talking about this.
I'm getting stressed talking about this. Why aren't we like...
No. We have solutions coming. We do have solutions coming, right? But
I certainly hope so because my blood pressure is raised now.
For the business leader, as you go in, you start to think about planning and why didn't we get done what we needed to get done? I mean, everything we preach is about building your business, and you have to grow or you die, period. You know that. And so it seems like a very logical conversation to talk about growth. We get it. The thing is, and everything we teach in our workshops and everything we talk about with clients is they have to have a clear path, and that eases the stress. Because I bet as soon as we started talking about this fight or flight thing, whether they knew it whether they called it that, as we describe the anger, the employees that just get, just irritated and just all of a sudden, or the ones that shut down, they're like, oh my gosh, that's what was happening. They went back to a moment. And then fast forward from that moment where you are to the results that you wanted 6 months later. How'd you do?
You've got to develop a path for them. So let's talk about how we're going to help these business owners overcome fight or flight.
Because that's what we do. We
that's
help.
what we do.
We're helpers. That's all we're doing.
We are. We're helpers.
Good. Yes.
I like being a helper. So you have to develop organizational empathy.
I just threw up a little bit in my mouth.
Okay, just hold
Wait,
on.
hold on.
I'm not
That is-
talking about kumbaya and s'mores over a campfire. That is not what I'm talking about.
Well, it sounds like it. Why do you have to use those words? Why can't you just say it plainly?
I think that is pretty plain.
Organizational empathy. If I'm a business leader, how in the HELL, what do they call them? Hockey stick things?
Hockey sticks.
Yeah. All right, I'm a business owner between 2.5 million,
feel
15
for your
million in
employees.
revenue, and you're saying organizational empathy, and I'm looking at you like, woman, for real? By the way, we're probably never getting any business from any HR department ever.
Ever. Well, if they met us and saw our disc profiles, they would never let us within 5 feet.
Can you get fired before you're hired?
Yes.
Yeah, we've already
There's
been fired about that.
absolutely no way.
Anyway, tell me something other than, because throw up's starting to go down a little bit.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're relaxing about that now. But what about...
That's a gross term.
Okay,
Give me something different.
If we help our employees understand, so we have some
Understand what?
feeling for our employees that they don't understand. And I think that's the bottom line. And we talked about this a little last week, right? You got to keep it simple because of the curse of knowledge. You got to keep the main thing because your employees don't understand that you've done research for 6 months or a year and you've looked at all the numbers and you've developed all the spreadsheets and the plans. They don't know that.
Okay. You've probably spoken to a certain audience. Let me speak to the other audience that I think is a business owner that's probably like, hey, business owner, business leader, you need to get things done. In order to do that, you need to get your team rallied around you. Therefore, we got a new path for you to ease the conversation. See, I just said the same thing you did. I just didn't say it in a soft, corny way.
I did not say it in some soft HR way. You're like, okay. We're supposed to be giving solutions. The solution is keep it simple. Keep the main thing the main thing.
Keep the main thing the main thing. Because there's this thing that we've referenced in the past.
Curse of knowledge.
The curse of knowledge, which we'll go back over because you may not have listened to that episode. If not, go back and find it and give us a 5-star rating. Why
Did
not?
you really just say that?
Why would I not? Yeah, we need them.
Okay.
Anyway, so here's the thing. Go back and listen. The curse of knowledge is if you're a business leader, your job is to think 12, 18, 24 months down the road. Right? And so you have all these inputs. You may have a consultant that you hire. You may have books that you read. You may go to conferences. You may listen to podcasts.
Maybe not this one after this episode.
No. They're going to listen. Anyway, so here's the thing, right? You've been doing this. You've been focusing on this. Meanwhile, your team's there fighting the daily fire to keep the thing running that you've built, right? And then all of a sudden, you come blasting in and you've used big words because it makes you sound smart, which I try not to do. And I do it pretty well, right? I think I do that, and that may be the best thing that I do, is not sound smart.
As not sound smart
Yes.
or not use big words?
Both.
Two different things.
Well, both. Anyway, so just remember that you've been studying this topic for a long time, and you're going to try to communicate it to them in like an hour sometimes, or even worse, over a PowerPoint. So keep it simple. Find the main thing, kind of hard sometimes, and keep the main thing, right?
Right.
All right, we're covered number 1.
Whew, that was hard.
Well, that's because you started with organizational empathy.
All right, number 2, positive contact. I think you have to frame things in a positive light. And I think that is really important because they have to understand where the company is going in a way that reflects, I'm going to say this, as a positive outcome to them. Not just to the company,
what's it mean to me?
But what does it mean to them?
Yeah.
And they did this study in Germany, and the impact of the study was if before organizational change or before challenging, difficult conversations or things that might evoke fight or flight, there was positive communication with the individual, positive interaction, that it lessened the severity of fight or flight, and it lessened the degree to which the number of people actually responded that way. So positivity is important.
So for all of you who are like me, and that was way too academic for you, I'm giving Lisa a hard time today.
Dadgum, Carrie.
All right, so to say it maybe a little bit more simply, one way to do that is to say that, hey, last year, do you remember last year? We weren't doing any of the things that we've done in the last 12 months. In fact, all this was new, and it was a little scary. But look how much we've accomplished, right? That's an example of positivity.
I think that's a great example.
Okay. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know you are. It's
Okay.
fine.
I'm glad we're on mics and not camera because I'm getting darts thrown at me. All right, let's keep going. So positivity, go back, rewind, talk about the past successes, and that'll help build to the future.
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay.
it will.
All right, number 3.
Then we are going to ask 3 questions to get them on board.
Yes.
And I like how you phrase this because you go into it with them and say, hey, guys, I've been looking at this for a while. I've done some research. I've sort of evaluated the situation, but now I really want your input on it.
Yeah.
And you go through 3 questions, and I think that really makes a huge difference to getting a team to understand what the main thing needs to be.
Yes, because they're, before you go down a new path, engage them with, and this really works so well, engage them with 3 questions. And you tee up those 3 questions with, you know what, before we go down, anything new, let's just level set where we are now. What you may find is that where you thought you needed to go, you're not even ready to go there because there's some things that you need to address before you get started. So, the 3 questions, Lisa.
Well, the first one is, what is the problem we are solving? So, what is the main thing?
And you may find that your team can't really answer the problem that you're solving.
Typically, when we do these workshops, people have different answers, which always surprises the team lead.
Okay. Different's okay as long as they're saying the same thing. But different when you're talking about completely different problems, well, it's a problem.
And oftentimes it is a problem. The next question is, who are we solving the problem for? Which again, if you're getting different answers on what the problem is that you're solving, there are times when you get different answers on who you're solving the problem for.
And that will make sales and marketing pretty hard.
Definitely.
Yes.
And there are times that sales thinks they're solving the problem for one person and marketing thinks they're solving it for another.
Yes. Meanwhile, the rest of the team's working on a completely different group.
Exactly.
And the last one, Lisa?
Is the problem we're solving big enough? This is my favorite question. I love it when we're in a group setting and you ask this question because people just look at you.
And yes, and we asked the first two and they feel, well, it could be like an hour and they've answered 2 questions. They feel so good about it, right? And then, because you're about to take them on a journey of the next 12 to 18 months, and you say, is the problem we're solving big enough? What does that do for them?
It blows their mind.
And it opens their minds to, maybe we need to think about solving a bigger problem.
Which then typically supports the leader, right? The team lead or the business owner, because that's what we really want them to do, is to begin to see a bigger picture.
Yes, man. This is a good one. George has not thrown anything at me, and he's not going to fight me. I think he's good. Did he eat something in the meantime?
I don't know. He may be, yeah.
I grabbed some hazelnuts.
Some hazelnuts. Very good. Well, listen, if you want encouragement and confidence in building your business, keep listening. If you want to move faster, and if you want to learn about all this stuff we're talking about, we've actually decided to put on a workshop.
We have. I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, because we have these 3 things on our website, which is, hey, go learn how to do it by yourself if you're a self-study person. And then there's some people like, you know what? Just show me how to do it and I'll take it from here. We got a workshop for you. And then those, our clients all the time say, hey, come internally and do this for me. And that's awesome. That is wonderful, wonderful. And then we've got our private client group, which is just a separate thing that we get a client that says, hey, tell me about what this is and how we do it. So anyway, we're super excited about the workshop. The date, Lisa, I got to lean on you because I always get it wrong.
Wednesday, September the 12th.
Is that right?
George, is that right? Yes. Wednesday, September the 12th.
And where are we doing it?
Can we say? We're going to do it at Top Golf.
We're doing it at Top Golf, which is pretty cool.
Top Golf, Birmingham,
Birmingham.
Alabama.
Yeah.
We have listeners all over the country.
Yep,
so
you come to us. Come on in. Top Golf. We'll treat you to a nice dinner if you fly in from outside of the state.
Yes.
Actually, we'll end up taking everybody.
We'll take everybody who comes in.
So please come to that. And if you want a download of a video of this topic, we will have it in the show notes where we go a little bit deeper for you. But you need to remember, if you like this topic, this is just one of 21 main sections in our workshop. We cover a lot. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.